Nope.
Wednesday, like tomorrow?
No, next Wednesday. Yes, the review is due Wednesday of finals, or whatever day your final is if you're watching the video. Okay, today's assignment is 41 to 60, but as usual, we'll work through some together. Hopefully bring this stuff back to the front of your brain. Find the inverse. All right, shh. Find the inverse. Do you remember how to find the inverse?
Don't you switch the X and the Y?
Switch the X and the Y. So, X equals negative 5 minus 4/5 Y. All right, ladies. Number 41. Switch the X and the Y, and then you have to solve for Y. So it's not enough to just switch the X and Y and be done. That'd be nice, I guess. So I got to get Y by itself. So what should I do to start to get Y by itself?
You should bring it over to Y.
I think add the 5 is a good plan. So X plus 5 equals negative 4/5 Y.
I think you should multiply everything by 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
You can multiply everybody by 5.
Or you could multiply.
We could have multiplied everybody by negative 5/4 and got it all at once. But multiplying by 5 is fine too. That way you clear that fraction.
That's like hard. Like you don't have a calculator.
Right. So one step at a time, which is fine too. Get there the same way. Let's divide by negative 4. So negative 5/4 X minus 5.
How'd you get 20?
Because 5 times 5 is clearly 25. I don't know what you're talking about. Just wishful thinking, I guess, that I could divide later. Negative 5/4 X minus 25/4 equals Y. That's the inverse. Switch X and Y, solve for Y. Yeah, first step super easy, and then solving for Y depends on if you know what 5 times 5 is. It's difficult. 43. Identify the vertex. So that's clearly a parabola, but it's not the parabola that the most recent kind of parabola where you could just look and see what the vertex is. Well, there's two options. You could get it in the vertex form. That would involve completing the square. You probably don't want to do that. Or you could remember the x-coordinate formula for a vertex.
Oh, negative B over 2.
There you go, negative B over 2A. Now, you're right, I hadn't thought about that, but you could do the complete square and turn it into vertex form and then be ready to go. So, careful with the negatives. Negative 12 over 2 times 1 is 6. That's the x-coordinate of the vertex. So how do I get the y-coordinate of the vertex?
You solve for 6.
Plug it in, plug 6 in.
It's just 1.
36 minus 72 plus 37. That looks terrible, but turns out to be kind of nice.
7.
Because that would be, what's that, 73 minus 72 is 1. So 6, 1. There's my vertex. Axis of symmetry.
It's like the center, right?
Yep, it's like that center line.
X equals 6.
So X equals 6. And again, some people draw it, some people don't. Either way, there's X equals 6. Draw the graph. I think I want to draw the graph before I find the minimum / maximum, because once I draw the graph, the min max I think will be obvious. Which way is this parabola pointing? Up. And so we can use that standard 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9 points on either side. 1, 1, 2, 4 fits. 3.9 goes
Wait.
a little bit off the graph. Question? So what's the minimum value? 1. So that's a minimum of 1. Maximum, it'd be like off the charts, infinity. That's why it says min/max, because it doesn't have a max. Alright. Again, just kind of skipping around here. You get 3 more practice problems of those. Fractions, yay, ugly. 47. Write a quadratic equation with the given roots. Remember, this is like the backwards problem? So the answers are -8 and 5. What factors would those have come from?
8 and -5.
X plus 8 and x minus 5.
Let's say x plus 8 and x minus 5.
And then you FOIL it out.
And then just FOIL it out. So x squared plus 3x minus 40. I feel like there's one minor step more.
Equals 0.
Equation in standard form. Okay, that's standard form with the given roots. Because it says roots, I think I'd be okay with y equals or 0 equals. Either one would be an equation that would have those roots. So definitely equals something. Equals y or equals 0.
Honestly, those ones aren't too bad.
Ooh, but 48. Maybe we should have done that one first.
No. It's 2x plus. No, minus.
It's just some weird fractions.
It's just some weird fractions. Let's figure out what the weird fractions are. So I could start like that, but I don't want to multiply that out because that'd be ugly. So what could I do to turn this into integers? Yeah, so 3x plus 2 and 2x minus 5. That would be nicer looking. And then multiply it out and stick the y equals on front. 6x squared. 4 minus 15 is -11. And then just to emphasize, I'm okay with 0 or y. We'll put a 0 on that one.
Oh, this is x plus 2 over 3. This much x minus 2.
These are just basic.
2 is divided by 1. And you can multiply it.
49. Solve each equation. It probably is basic factoring, but basic factoring isn't basic for everybody. So what should I do first on 49 before I start factoring?
From the left to the right. Or from the right to the left.
Yeah, we can go left to right. We can put it all on the left or all on the right. I have a definite preference on this one.
Everything on the right.
I would say on the left, just get rid of that first negative, right?
I would say on the left to make the 7x squared positive. Yeah. That way I don't have to worry about the negative. I mean, it's an easy fix if I do it the other way, but... So 7x squared plus 46x minus 21 equals 0. Look and see if I have a pencil up here, because this is factoring with lots of different... Yeah, you're right. It does have to be 7 and 1. I would be careful. It doesn't necessarily say that it absolutely factors. If it doesn't factor, what will we have to do?
It factors.
Quadratic formula, but hopefully that factors. All right, it's got to be 7 and 1.
3.
3 and 7. Because 7 times 7 would be 49.
Minus 3 is 46.
Minus 3 is 46. Again, you have to have number skills strong enough to do that kind of thing. 1 and 7 was easy. 21, you've got choices, but not a bunch of choices. And you have to realize that whatever goes there is going to be multiplied by 7. And you need to get up to 46, so 7 times 7 is 49. Minus 3 is 46. Okay, I factored it, so move on to the next one.
Solve. We have to solve it.
Solve. So I got to set each of those equal to 0. I'm a little short on space, so I'll set it equal to 0 in my head and move things around and get negative 7 and 3 sevenths. $51 looks terrible.
No.
Is it not as bad as it looks?
Because it's 5.
51.
Go ahead,
I should look for a GCS, and I'm hopeful with the 75 and the 60, but 3 doesn't do anything for me.
3.
3 what? Yeah, we keep saying 3 for it.
And 3 not doing all.
Oh, 3 does go into all of them. Yes.
25, 20, 21.
25v squared plus 20v minus 21. Yep, don't know how I didn't see that, but thank you. That makes life easier. So it still works. If you don't take the 3 out, it still factors.
It's
It's just worse. It's just worse. You
15, 5,
still get the same answers, but yuck. Okay, this should be easier. 1 and 25, 5 and 5, 1 and 21, 3 and 7. I have a pencil up here, so I'm going to have to think hard and get it right the first time here. Signs. They need to be different signs, so they'll subtract to 20.
37.
So 35 and 15 would work.
Yes.
So 5v and 5v, and 3 and 7. Because now I've got 35 and 15, and I want a positive 35 and a minus 15. So V equals 3/5, and V equals negative 7/5. Yuck. More factoring, more factoring, more factoring. And more factoring, and more factoring, and more factoring. So, which one should we work? Jack, why don't you tell me one that doesn't factor?
55, 56, 58, 57, 68.
Okay.
So,
So we got a whole bunch that don't factor on the back.
are 59.
3x squared plus 10x plus 21 equals 0. Now, other than Jack telling me, how do I know it doesn't factor?
Wait, that 10 doesn't have a 36.
Because I tried it.
Oh, you're right. So that should be 3x squared plus 31 equals 0.
31's a fine, no.
You're right, that one doesn't factor, but even better, I can solve for x. Like, I don't have to factor, and I don't want to use the quadratic formula. I can just move the 31 over, divide by 3. This is going to get ugly here, but that's okay. Square root both sides.
It's an imagine.
It will be an imaginary number. I root 31 over root 3 plus or minus, but we don't like square roots in the bottom. So one more step to fix that square root. So plus or minus I root 93 over 3. What a lovely answer.
Hey, well, that means we don't have to go any farther. I don't think that's
Correct. There's nothing more you can do. That's right. And some will get that right. They won't get the others because they still don't know how to factor. And that one didn't involve factoring, so maybe it's a good thing. Jack, relying on you here. You didn't steer me wrong there. Where do I need to use the quadratic formula?
I used for that 21, 56, 57, 58.
Okay.
60 was a lot of really big numbers.
Surely something's divisible by something in there?
I don't know.
I think you can
I
do
didn't
5.
know.
I think you can do it 5.
Yeah,
Once
it
you
would
move
be
over by 4.
Yeah, would be
You probably could have.
70k squared.
95.
Minus 95k minus 200. Definitely a 5.
I did it.
Maybe more than a 5, but maybe not. So let's just do a 5 first. And then if we can do more, we'll do more. But if not,
If you don't take out your
you're right. I can divide by 5 since it's an equation. So I don't have to leave the 5 out front.
do that, or if you don't take out the 5, you still get the same.
Still get the same answer. It'll just be a longer,
Okay.
rougher path to get there.
Yeah. These numbers.
Let's see. 70 divided by 5 is 14. K squared minus 19k. Well, there goes all my chance of factoring further with the 19 there, or the greatest common factoring anyway. Minus 40 equals 0. And yeah, I didn't even need to put the 5 out there because it's an equation. I can divide by 5, it goes away. Alright. Now, I don't really know yet if this factors or not, other than Jack telling me it doesn't factor.
I don't think there's much that you can.
I don't think it does, Jack.
to get, you can't do it 40 and you can't factor a negative and get a positive.
Well, mine didn't simplify to normal numbers, so I don't think it factors.
That's exactly right. So Jack used the quadratic formula, and it didn't. That square root didn't simplify, which means it wouldn't have factored.
Yeah.
So if you use the quadratic formula and then it simplifies, it means, whoops, I could have factored. At that point, it doesn't really matter because you got your answers. But yes, that confirms that it doesn't factor if you get a square root that won't simplify any further. So either I have to sit here and think through how in the world do I make 19 appear out of all this combination of stuff.
If not, if it's negative 19 and then it ends at a negative 40.
No, that just means these two would have to be positive and negative. And if the negative is bigger than the positive, I'd get 19.
I
56 and 10. Or 35 and 16. 35 and 16?
I don't know. But then
Yeah,
again,
that would work.
Yeah?
I didn't simplify it, so my
You're not sure you were
my
simplified.
square root was 1,879. So I didn't know.
Yeah. I think I see. Let's see. If I do
Yeah, he definitely.
Yeah, that would
35, 7 times 5,
And I didn't have a calculator.
minus 16. Alright, so let's see if we can figure this out. 2k and 7k.
7x plus 8.
And I want the 7 across from the 5 to get me 35.
I still have a higher yield.
2 times 8 is 16. And I want
Plus 5 minus
the. Wait, don't you mean the other way around?
No, my bad.
I want negative 35k and plus 16k. Okay? So k equals 5 halves. K equals negative 8 sevenths. No calculator, but there's not any factoring that are that bad.
I can't simplify.
Yeah. That's a rough one. Okay, well we still haven't seen the quadratic formula yet, since Jack steered us astray on that one. 57, that looks like we...
57 is 58 if you want to include high.
Okay, well let's do 58.
Wait, no, that's 56. Oh, 58 off that.
Well, there's an argument, so let's do 58 and see who's right. Negative 11x squared
Mine has an I.
plus 6x plus 4 equals 0.
These are imaginary, so it's between mine and
I do not like a negative lead coefficient, so I'm going to multiply through by negative 1. Just, I think that's easier. It still won't factor,
You know, it just makes
right?
it nice.
1 and 11,
It's nothing times
2 and 2, 1 and 4. I'm not getting 6 out of that. So,
Well,
1,
I
11.
think either way, you're going to get a positive in the head.
So, sing the song. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Yeah, so I'm not getting an I out of that. That's going to be 36 plus something.
I was tired when I did it.
I'm making excuses.
Jack, you're leading us astray.
Let's see. That looks yuck.
44 times 4. What is 44?
44 times 4. That's 88 times 2, 176.
I just didn't cancel out the negative. I'll erase that.
Whoops, and then I got to add 36 to that. And now I'm out of order, so that looks even worse. 212. 6 plus or minus root 212 divided by 22.
Well, I don't think 212 has a
I think 212 definitely has a perfect square factor.
Well, no, it doesn't. It's not. It's
Definitely 4 at least.
There's definitely a 4 at least. And so let's do the 4 first, and then if we can do more, we'll do more. If not,
Enough. Wouldn't it be 53? And 53 doesn't simplify. 53.
53.
is it 53?
It is 53.
And 53 does not simplify. So 6 plus or minus 2 root 53 over 22. I can divide everybody by 2. 3 plus or minus root 53 all over 11.
It was only
Let's try to argue.
So no I's, but
I don't have to
definitely a weird square root to deal with.
At least we don't have to simplify it.
There's no more to simplify. So, some of you, factoring is just. Although I guess on the final you could quadratic formula every single thing. Seems kind of like the long way around, but
It's all multiple choice, just plug in.
true, it's multiple choice, so you can plug in. Although there's at least one question that says something like, "What is the sum of the answers?" So I mean, it wouldn't do that for ones like 58
That would be accurate.
or even 60, but usually they're nicer numbers when we ask that. But that prevents the, well, let me just plug it back in and see what works. I guess you could still work backwards. It would just be a lot harder. Okay, so yours today is through 60. So we did a few, but that still leaves quite a few left for you to work on. As of yesterday, the thing is, this worksheet and answers are posted in Schoology. So if you were looking for answers, they weren't there until 23 hours ago. But now they are.